Hey, stop fooling around. This is the Strictly Business Podcast with Mike Ritz and John Stanko.
Known. But now it's time for us to argue a little bit because I think we're going to get into some discussion here on our next topic. Me and Rich are now going to predict our division standings. We're going to go through the league, go to each division, predict who's going to finish 1 through 4, or we can do 4 through 1, whichever one you think works best. Well, let's go right out there. Let's start in the AFC East. We're going to go through our division standings. We're going to start in the AFC East. Rich, you take it away. You start this off.
Whew. All right, I'm going to be honest. This was one of the harder ones for me, the AFC East. I think we'll go 4 through 1, Stanko. How about that? I actually have the Miami Dolphins finishing last in this division. They do add Noshan Moreno, which I think is an underrated transaction between the Dolphins. Obviously, he had a lot of support that he had in Denver, and God knows what the Dolphins are going to try to do with him. It's not going to be nearly the help that he got in Denver. But I think the Dolphins are lost. I really don't think that they're doing they're going to be really anything. It's not necessarily how bad the Miami Dolphins are. I just think that the other 3 teams in the division are just better than them. It's simple as that.
Listen, I completely agree with you. I have the Miami Dolphins at 4. I frankly think they're going to have a really bad year. I don't think they're going to finish near 500 in my mind. I think they're clearly the worst team in this division. I agree with you. I think they're going to finish 4th. For me, finishing 3rd, I have the Buffalo Bills. I have them finishing 3rd. I think that Sammy Watkins is going to be a good offensive rookie. I think he's an offensive rookie of the year candidate. But I think this team is going to go as far as their defense goes, and I think their defense is that special. I think E.J. Manuel will take steps forward, but again, I think that these 2 teams I have above them are just better teams overall, and that's why I have the Bills finishing 3rd and once again missing the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, although they play in the mecca of professional sports, Ralph Wilson Stadium, that really is a place where they really get behind their players when they're home. But I just don't think the talent's there right now. I think that E.J. Manuel really is gonna just have a so-so year. I really don't see a lot from E.J. Manuel, and let's see how C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson do. I always like to see kind of who the touches are going to get to, but. Like I said, I don't think they have enough on defense either to kind of put forth an effort to try to grab the top 2 spots in the division. I think the Bills are going to be 3rd. And for my second place team in the division, I have the New York Jets. I have the Jets finishing 2nd. I'm sure you're happy to hear that, Johnny Stank, because that means your team's going to place 1st, at least in my eyes. But I have the Jets finishing. I really wouldn't be surprised if they have another 8-8 season. I really don't think they're as bad as everyone's saying, and I think that a lot of people are going to be pleasantly surprised with a lot of the games that the Jets are going to play. I don't think Geno Smith looks lost out there at all. I think he had a pretty good preseason in my eyes, and with additions like Chris Johnson, let's see how they get Eric Decker the ball because that's one thing they really need to work on. Obviously, their defense has always been their focal point, and any team that has a strong defense is going to stay in games, and Geno Smith is going to figure it out. So I really think the Jets are due for a pretty good year, and they're going to be fighting for the wild card spot all season long, and they have a shot at getting it. I really do believe that. But for right now, I have them finishing 2nd in the AFC East.
I completely agree with you. I actually have in my grander scheme of predictions, I have the Jets in that 6th wild card spot.
Wow.
In the AFC, I have them going. To be specific, I have them going 9-7 and making the playoffs, squeezing in there. Listen, I agree with you. Geno Smith has looked good this preseason. He doesn't look lost, to steal your word. I think that the additions of Eric Decker and Chris Johnson will help. I don't think any of them have superstar years, but I think they're both upgrades to what the Jets had. Rex Ryan is still a defensive genius, and I think that he'll still have a top 10 defense easily. So I agree with you. I have them finishing 2nd, but I don't know how you can't have the Patriots finishing 1st. They've dominated the division for so long. They made more improvements in the offseason. It was just announced Gronkowski is going to play week 1, which was the best part of my day when I heard that news. So I agree with you with the Jets at number 2, and I think we agree 1 through 4 here. We got Patriots, Jets, Bills, Dolphins. That's the order we're going with.
Yeah, and just to touch on it, I mean, I don't know how many people can see the Patriots not finishing first because, I mean, let's forget the fact that they've won the AFC East 10 for the last 11 seasons, I think it is, going back to 2003. But look at the quarterbacks for these teams. E.J. Manuel, Geno Smith, Ryan Tannehill, and Tom Brady. Those are the 4 quarterbacks in this division. And you're going to tell me that a team that's not the Patriots is going to win the division? Come on.
Come on. So there we go. We agree on the AFC East. Let's move to the AFC North. Who do you have finishing last in the AFC North?
Finishing last in the AFC North, sorry. In the AFC North, I have, sorry, Johnny Manziel, I have the Cleveland Browns finishing last in the AFC North. They just have too many problems. First of all, it was just a mess. Let's just forget about the off-the-field stuff. It's a mess with Johnny Manziel, Brian Hoyer, who's going to be the starting quarterback. I said in the last podcast that it's not going to matter because, to me, the Cleveland Browns are only a 5 or 6 win team, and they're going to finish last in this division. They're in a pretty tough division with 3 pretty good teams who can all finish above 500, and I just don't see the Browns doing really anything. I think it was announced that Josh Gordon's out for the year now, so their only viable asset isn't going to be on the field all season. Or Ben Tate, who has a bad history of injuries, is going to get a lot of touches, but if he can stay healthy, he is their only bright spot on this bad team. Their defense is bad. I just don't see the Browns finishing anywhere better than last place in the division.
I completely 100% agree with you. Their offense is going to be, I think, very, very hard to watch. Because people are just going to key on, in the passing game, they're going to key on Jordan Cameron, their tight end, and they know to stop Ben Tate. Those are the 2 weapons you only have to worry about with them. Brian Hoyer doesn't scare you with his throwing ability. And I think that with Josh Gordon being out for a full year, it's going to force Johnny Manziel to come in faster this season because fans and the coaches are going to be so frustrated with how boring and predictable the offense is going to be that I think Johnny Manziel is going to have to come in and going to have to be that unpredictability spark plug for this offense come midway point of the season. But I agree with you. I think they're going to come in last.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I really think Manziel is going to play here at some point because, you know, what's going to happen week 7, week 8 when they have 2, 3 wins and they're clearly out of it and they're going to need a spark. They need something to get people to keep coming to the games. Johnny Manziel is going to play this season, regardless of what anybody says, because the fact is they're going to be bad and they're going to want to be talked about in some way, and they know ESPN's going to cover anything Johnny Manziel does. So he's definitely going to get some time on the field towards the back end of the season when it is a lost cause for the Browns.
Yeah. So, Rich, who do you have finishing third in the AFC North?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I went back and forth so much between these 3 teams, and I really think this is going to be a close division throughout. But I'm going to say the Baltimore Ravens are going to finish third because I think this whole thing, first of all, even when Ray Rice is healthy, I don't think he's not an every down back, and that lack of having an every down back is gonna hurt them. Flacco, he had his year, and last year, I really don't believe in the Ravens offense. I really don't. I think they've had better seasons. I think that their defense isn't as good as it's been, obviously, in the Ray Lewis years and the Ed Reed years. And I think it's going to show this year. And frankly, I just think that the 2 teams that we're going to get into after the Ravens are better teams. So I really think the Ravens are going to finish third here.
I agree with you. I expected you to put the Ravens higher than third, so I'm surprised we're in agreement here. But listen, I think this team's offense is not that strong. Granted, they did pick up Steve Smith in the offseason. So that's a pretty good pickup at wide receiver. It'll spell some of the coverage from Torrey Smith. But I don't believe in Joe Flacco. I haven't for a very long time. He played his best football ever in those playoffs, and he's done nothing. He's done nothing since to appease me. But I think this team is weak at running back because Bernard Pierce and Ray Rice, I'm sorry, those aren't names I consider good running backs for a tandem. You mentioned Ray Rice is out. He's on an every down back as well. And this defense is spotty. They showed last year, and I agree with you. I have the Baltimore Ravens finishing third. I'm surprised we agree there.
Yeah, I knew. I knew. Looking at that, I knew you'd be impressed by me. But yeah, Flacco, the best he's ever played was when he really needed to, because not only did he win the Super Bowl, but then he got that paycheck right after that. So the only time that Flacco really, really stepped up, and I really think it wasn't even Flacco, it was that bad Broncos secondary that got the Ravens where they needed to be. But anyway, yeah, I have, like you said, I mean, when Ray Rice comes back, he's not an every down back. Bernard Pierce is spotty. Their defense is spotty. And, I have them finishing third as well.
All right, so for me, finishing second in the North, I have the Cincinnati Bengals finishing second, which means I have Pittsburgh winning the AFC North. I personally believe the Bengals are going to take a step back this year. I think they kind of surprised people last year. I think Andy Dalton played really well last year at the quarterback position, obviously not in the playoffs. But I think the Bengals are going to take a step back. I'm incredibly surprised they cut the law firm, Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. The dude doesn't fumble, and he doesn't seem to do anything egregiously poorly. He seems to do everything okay or good. He's not great at anything by any means except for holding on to the football. But for me, I think the Bengals are going to take a step back. I think the Steelers are going to improve. Granted, their preseason did not help my vote of confidence at all. But for me, I have Bengals finishing second and Pittsburgh at number one.
I mean, this is getting redundant. I actually agree. I have the Bengals finishing second, and I'll tell you why. I might disagree with you a little bit, saying the Bengals are going to take a step back. Because I think the Bengals are going to are a playoff team, and I think they'll get the wild card spot. I think they'll be a wild card team because I feel like every year the Bengals are everyone's favorite kind of take a step back. You know what I mean? They went 9-7 in 2011, and then they got better the next year, 10-6, and they got better than last year. They went 11-5. They have the talent. They put their confidence in Andy Dalton, and I think they're going to have a pretty good year. And that's why I have them as a wild card team. But I have the Steelers winning the division, and I'll tell you why. In the season's first 7 weeks, the Steelers only play one team that finished with a winning record last year, and that was Carolina, who actually don't look as strong as they did last year. So, yes, I think the Steelers are going to be a better team, but also I'm playing the schedule a little bit. The first 7 weeks, they really don't play tough teams. So I think even with the suspensions early on in the year, I think they're going to be fine, and I have the Steelers winning the division.
Wow, dropping some knowledge there with the Pittsburgh Steelers schedule. Good points there. But all right, so we're in agreement again. We going from top to bottom. We got Steelers, Bengals, Ravens, Browns. I'm surprised we're in agreement there once again.
Me too. Me too.
I think I have a pretty shocking AFC South. For me, at the bottom of the AFC South, I am finishing last is going to be the Tennessee Titans. I do not believe in Jake Locker one bit. I don't think he can stay healthy at all. They got rid of Chris Johnson. They got Ken Whisenhunt as head coach. But I don't think Jake Locker is going to fit into Whisenhunt's passing first offense. I think that they have talent on the outside. I just don't trust Locker to get the ball there consistently, and that's why I got them finishing last. It's that simple.
Well, I disagree with you, Stenko. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars finishing last. I think that they are getting better, but they're not going to be there. Blake Bortles is kind of a breath of fresh air. Let's see how many games he's going to start. But it's the Jaguars. There's so much wrong with this team. I think their bright spot right now is Toby Gerhart. He's played well in the preseason, but I really don't see the Jaguars doing much. But I think I kind of have a surprising one with my third place. It's not the Tennessee Titans. I have the Houston Texans finishing third in this division. I really do. I guess that's going to be my surprise. of everything is having these Texans finish. I just really don't think that they're going to be that good. I don't think Arian Foster is the running back that everyone saw him out to be. I think he had one good year and he kind of got set back with these injuries, and I don't think they're going to be that good. They got, obviously, Matt Schaub was a mess, so their quarterback situation has been a mess. Andre Johnson, honestly, to me, he's more of a name than anything else. So I really think that the Texans aren't going to be as good as advertised, and I have them finishing third.
I agree with you in having the Texans finish third. You have to have a quarterback to win games, a good quarterback, and they don't have one. I'm sorry. They just don't. Ryan Fitzpatrick is an interception-throwing machine. I agree with you. Arian Foster won't stay healthy the entire season. They'll have a great defense, but you got to score points to win games, and I don't think they'll do that consistently at all. But I think you have surmised that means that I have the Jacksonville Jaguars finishing second in the AFC South. I will have it say, not with a good record. I think this division has the biggest discrepancy between the first place team and everyone else. But I have the Jacksonville Jaguars in my predictions. I have them going 6-10. I have them going 6-10, and you probably think I'm crazy, but I think that they're going to be better this year with Gerhardt at running back, Marquise Lee at wide receiver. I think Blake Bortles is going to end up playing this year because he just looked so good in the preseason that I think they're going to have to start him because eventually I think he's going to separate himself from Chad Henne. So I have the Jacksonville Jaguars finishing second in front of the Houston Texans and Tennessee Titans.
All right. Well, wow. I am shocked, and I do not think that's going to happen. That'd be great for the Jaguars if that happened to end up finishing second with only a 6-10 record, but I just don't see it. But going back to me, that means I have the Tennessee Titans finishing second in the division, which, Jake Locker, before he got hurt, he got his team off to a 3-1 start last season before going down to an injury in Week 4, and that only loss was in overtime. And they weren't beating bad teams either. I mean, they weren't beating bad teams. They beat the Jets, they beat the Steelers, two teams that ended up finishing 8-8. And the Chargers team that eventually that made the playoffs. So if Locker stays healthy, and if Locker stays healthy, then I think they can kind of sneak, can almost make a bid for a wild card spot. I don't think it's going to happen, but don't sleep on the Titans. They have enough there that can kind of make some noise. I think Kendall Wright is one of the most underrated wide receivers that nobody's talking about. If you look back, Kendall Wright has the talent. So I think that the Titans have enough around them that they can kind of make some noise in the division.
All right, so we are in complete disagreement here, except for the first place team, which is the Indianapolis Colts. I think it's pretty straightforward. They're easily the best team in this division, hands down, with the best quarterback and the best overall offense. So we both agree that the Colts are going to win this one. I think they can have this one clinched up by week 13 or 14. To be honest with you.
Yeah, without a doubt, I don't think this was too much of a rash decision. Andrew Luck is one of the better quarterbacks in the game. I think they're the most stable right now. It was they had a great run last year, and they're just going to try to prove themselves a little more this year. In 2 seasons since drafting Andrew Luck, the Colts have gone 11-5 twice, made the playoffs twice. So it kind of sounds about right that if history repeats itself, they might go 11-5 again and make the playoffs.
Yeah. So all right. So for myself, I have the Colts finishing number 1, the Jacksonville Jaguars finishing 2, Houston Texans 3, Tennessee Titans 4. For Rich, he flip-flops the Titans and the Jaguars. For his goes Colts, Titans, Texans, Jaguars. So we'll see who comes out on there. I admit that the South is my bold prediction in terms of team that'll rise up.
That is the definition of bold. That is the definition of bold.
Yes. Now we're going to go to a division that I thought was frankly the easiest to rank for me, especially in the AFC, the AFC West. Let's start in the basement, Rich. I'd be shocked if you don't have the Oakland Raiders finishing last in the West.
Yeah, you called it. I got the Oakland Raiders finishing dead last, and it's just an unfortunate occurrence for the Raiders every single year. They are so bad. Matt Schaub can't even get the start for the Raiders, as it was announced that David Carr is actually going to get the start for the Raiders in Week 1, and that's not really, I mean, congratulations, David Carr, for getting a start on a football team, but unfortunately that football team is the Oakland Raiders, where you're going to get no protection, you have no players, and it's just going to be another long season for the Raiders in a division that has 3 pretty good football teams in it that are just going to be beating up on you week after week. So, yeah, Oakland Raiders are going to be living in the basement yet again in the AFC West this season.
Completely agree with you. Finishing in third, for me, I have the San Diego Chargers. Listen, I think they're a good team, but I think they're just unlucky because they got 2 better teams ahead of them. I got them finishing third. I think that they'll maybe contend for a wild card. But I think that this team is good offensively. Defensively, I'm a little iffy on. But, I mean, you look at the running back depth chart for the Chargers. You got Donald Brown and Ryan Matthews and Danny Woodhead. 3 quality running backs. And you got Keenan Allen, Vincent Brown, and Malcolm Floyd at the wide receiver. So this team is talented offensively. Defensively is going to where they need to pick it up.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that the Chargers are a bad team at all. I think as much as I dislike the guy, Philip Rivers has proved that he can get the yardage. He's a pretty good arm, and he knows how to get the most out of his receivers. And but unfortunately, with teams like the Chiefs and the Broncos, the Chargers kind of have to sit at 3 right now in the division. I don't think they have enough to kind of overtake Andy Reid and the Chiefs and obviously Peyton Manning and the Broncos. So for right now, I have the Chargers finishing third. And for my second place team, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. They've obviously showed they have a great defense. They have Jamal Charles can stay healthy. They can definitely make some noise in the division. But I think that the Denver Broncos have too much. They obviously Peyton Manning. They have one of the best defenses in the league. They showered even with Wes Welker's injury. They have Emmanuel Sanders. They have obviously Demaryius Thomas, Julius Thomas. They have all these receivers for Peyton. Monte Ball is supposed to really have a breakout year this season. So as good as the Chiefs are going to be with Alex Smith under his fresh new 4-year contract that they just signed this year for him, I think that the Chiefs are going to be pretty good, but they're not going to be as good as the Broncos. So I have Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders for the AFC West.
We're in complete agreement. You can't pick against Peyton Manning. It's like a law. It's against. You'll go to jail if you pick against Peyton Manning winning this division. That's a matter of fact. Jamal Charles right now might be the best overall running back in the game, and I think Kansas City, they're going to be good. I think their defense is going to be great. Can Alex Smith carry them to the promised land, or will he just be there to get them to the playoffs and not have enough of personal talent to get them over the hump? He's got to prove that contract somehow. We'll see if he does that. We are in complete agreement on the standing for the AFC West. And now it's time to switch conferences, so we get to your preference, if you will, because we're going to get to the NFC East. Rich, who do you have at the bottom of the NFC East?
At the bottom of the NFC East right now, I have the Washington Redskins, mainly on the fact that I don't believe in RG3. As bad as the Giants are, I really don't believe in the Redskins at all. I think that they are a mess from top to bottom, and it starts with RG3, and we talked about it last week. This dude is going to come out. Like I said, the first couple of weeks are going to be where the Redskins are going to be at their best, because that's going to be the most healthy RG3 is going to be. And I don't want to say stubbornness might get him, but RG3 is going to want to play 24/7, whether he's 100% or not. And, week 4, week 5, week 6, when he keeps getting these hits on him, he's not going to be as healthy, and that's when he's going to struggle. He's going to become even more one-dimensional that he has been since the injury, and they're going to lose some games. And I have the Redskins, at most, I have them going 7-9, but I have them going 6-10 and finishing last in the NFC.
I disagree with you. At the bottom, I have the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow.
This team does not have a defense. I don't know how to put it anywhere else. Anyway. They don't have a defense. They won't stop anybody. They're going to score points, but they're going to give up more points than they score. I think this is going to be the nail in Jason Garrett's coffin. I think Tony Romo coming off injury. Listen, he's a good quarterback, but he's going to take a lot of hits. But this team, you can't win games if you don't have any resemblance of a defense at all, and that's what the Cowboys have. That's why I have them finishing last. They're going to put up a ton of points, but every game they play is going to be a 42-35 shootout, and I don't think they're going to come out on top of many of them. I have them finishing last.
Wow, that is certainly a surprise because unfortunately I have my New York Giants finishing third in this division. I have them finishing 7-9. It's not even a knock. I just think that I just don't think that we have enough. I don't think our defense is there. Our line is still bad. I'm not going to go out and say that the offense is going to be as bad as what we have seen, but I think it's still a transition period for a team that needs to win right now. I think Rashad Jennings has shown that he can play, obviously, and obviously with Odell Beckham Jr.'s injury, we are kind of not limited, but we can get stronger on the wide receiver end, but I still have them being 7-9, because let's face it, even when the Giants were at their best, they were always a 9-7 football team, and they would kind of sneak into the playoffs, whether it be a weak division or they snag the wild card spot. But unfortunately for me, this isn't as good a football team as years past, and I have them finishing third at 7-9.
I completely agree with you. I think that this is going to be a mediocre team, like you said, the Giants. I think Eli Manning will have his weeks where he'll look really good, but then he'll have his weeks where he throws 4 picks, and you're wondering why was he even throwing that ball in the first place. So I agree with you. I have them finishing third, but I have the Redskins finishing second. And listen, again, this is much like the AFC South to me, where the number one team is just that much better than everyone else. So that's why I have the Redskins finishing second. I think that their offense, if RG3 can stay healthy, is going to be pretty darn good with Deshaun Jackson, Pierre Garçon, RG3. There's a lot of big playmaking capability there. So I think that their offense can be scary if RG3 stays healthy. I don't have faith in him, much like you, but we both are shaky on RG3, but I have them finishing second, but not with a great record, a 500 record, if you will. But I have the Eagles finishing number one because they're just that much better, and there's no competition in this division at all for them.
Yeah, and for my second place team, I actually have the Dallas Cowboys finishing second. I think as bad as the defense is, you really can't deny their offense, and if you can score in this league, you're going to hang in there. Dez Bryant, I don't think Romo is as bad as people peg him out to be. This offense is legit. Dez Bryant, DeMarco Murray, who I think no one ever talks about, and this guy has been there every single year for them. Their offense from top to bottom, I think it's one of the better ones in the league, to be honest. And I think that as much, even if I'm correct in this, Stanko, and they finish second and they miss the playoffs, I still think Jason Garrett is going to lose his job. I have the Cowboys going 8-8 right now. Here with the Eagles taking care of business in the division. But like I said, compared to the Vikings and compared to the Giants, I think that out of the three teams, it's the Cowboys that are the more stable organization right now, which is crazy to say. But I really think that because of how good the Cowboys offense is, they're going to hang around in some games and they're going to win. And I really, really don't believe in RG3, and that's why I have them finishing fourth. So from top to bottom, I have Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, and Redskins in the NFC East.
Yeah, for me, I have Eagles, Redskins, Giants, Cowboys. So we once again have a disagreement there. Let's get to if I had my preference, whoever was right out of me and you, I hope you're right. I would love to see the Cowboys finish last in this division. You're not biased at all. All right, let's move to a division that for me was fairly hard to pick from top to bottom. The NFC North. I think it's fairly easy to pick the last place team, even though I think they're going to improve this year. The Minnesota Vikings are going to bring up the basement in the North, but I still think they're going to be a team that competes with a lot of teams around the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. I think out of those teams, because if you look at this division, these four Vikings, they're on the up and up, obviously, because first of all, Christian Ponder isn't going to be their quarterback anymore. So I think that is one plus that they can take. Adrian Peterson is still there, so they're going to get better. I think Kyle Rudolph is a very underrated tight end, and it's going to be is going to be viable to their offense this year, because especially if Teddy Bridgewater does get some time, I think he'll be looking to kind of have a couple of dump offs, kind of short passes. So I really think Kyle Rudolph is going to be an integral part of this offense. But yeah, compared to these other three teams in the league, you can't not pick the Vikings dead last in the division.
Yeah, all right. So then at number 3, who do you have finishing third in the North?
Third in the North, I went back and forth, but I'm going to stick with my original 4 in the NFC North, and I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions to finish third, only because as good as Matthew Stafford is, I still don't trust that he is going to play 16 games. I don't know how you feel about that, Stanko, but that's just my gut. I love Matthew Stafford. I'm a big fan of the Lions, and I'd be lying if I told you that I think the Giants are going to beat them week 1, because they are a very good football team. But I don't think they have it all together just yet. So I have the Lions finishing third in this division. They're there. They are pretty good. They've had some good seasons, but I don't trust altogether. I trust the Lions finishing better than third in the division.
I agree with you. For some reason, maybe because they were bad for so long, I don't have faith that the Lions can put together all the individual talent that they have. But I think that individually-wise, they got Reggie Bush at running back, Calvin Johnson, Golden Tate at wide receiver, Matthew Stafford at quarterback. That's a pretty darn good-looking offense. Yeah, part of my gut is that they aren't going to be able to put it all together, just like you said. So I have them finishing third. And then at second, I have the Chicago Bears. I have them finishing second in the North. I don't know. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. I have the Bears finishing second with the Packers winning the division. There's just something about the Bears that they just can't get over the hump. They are always right there. Even with Lovie Smith when he was the coach, I feel like they were always 8-8. I feel like they were always 8-8, 9-7 on the cusp of doing good things, and they just never got there. And I think with how good the Packers are going to be this season, it's kind of hard to not pick them. For me, picking the Packers, it was kind of easy because obviously they won the NFC North, Stanko, last season with Matt Flynn, Seneca Wallace, and Scott Tolzien all starting games at quarterback.
That's so true.
Seneca Wallace started a game that he didn't even throw a pass in. He hasn't even thrown a pass in a game since 2011. Started a game for the Packers. So if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, I think that they're going to be completely fine. They'll get a first-round bye, and I think it's the Packers' division to lose. So I have Packers, I have the Bears finishing second with the Lions at third and the Vikings fourth.
We are in agreement with the NFC North. Now let's move to the NFC South, where I think that there's just a lot of turnaround in this division. You got the Panthers losing all the wide receivers. You got Lovie Smith going to Tampa Bay. You got Atlanta, who's a good team that had a bad year last year, and then you got the Saints. So for me, at the bottom, finishing in last place, the team will have the worst setback compared to last year. I have the Carolina Panthers bringing up the caboose in the NFC South.
Wow. Okay.
That's right. Why? Because they have 0 wide receivers whatsoever for Cam Newton to throw to. And I'm sorry, but D'Angelo Williams is not a running back who can carry your team, and Cam Newton can't do it all on his own. He's not that much of a Superman. Their defense is going to be good. Don't get me wrong, they're going to be incredibly good, but I don't see them scoring a lot of points, and I think that the other teams in this division have improved so much that the Panthers in the step back that they took, while it might not be large on a grand scale, in this division, it puts them behind the rest.
All right. I mean, that's valid, and I agree slightly, but I wouldn't go far as to say that they're going to finish last in the division. I still think that I don't see the Buccaneers having a fantastic season. I think Doug Martin is just – I don't see much out of Doug Martin, to be completely honest with you. I feel like he shows flashes of how good he can be, but I don't think he's a durable back. I just don't. I don't think in a 16-game season that he's going to be the consistent guy for you every week. And I think without him, I don't see much out of the Buccaneers. I think their defense is going to be pretty good, and they are going to improve. But I have the Buccaneers finishing last in the division. Third place, I will agree with you with some of your points. I have the Panthers finishing third in the division. I don't think that. I think all they have is Cam, and they have their defense, and I think that's it. But their defense is going to kind of lift them out of the basement of the division. Cam, who did get hurt in the preseason, so I think that's something to look at. He cracked his rib in the preseason, so let's see how his durability is going to be throughout the year. But I think with their defense is too tough to finish last in the division, so I have the Buccaneers finishing last, and I have the Panthers finishing third.
Yeah, I got the Buccaneers finishing third, and I agreed with you that Doug Martin, I mean, I hope you're wrong, because I picked him up I think it was the 5th round in our fantasy draft last night, so I was pretty happy to get him in that round, so I really hope he comes through for me there. But I think that the addition of Logan Mankins is huge, and it really boosts the value of Doug Martin, because Logan Mankins, in my belief, is one of the best offensive linemen in football, and I was shocked that the Patriots got rid of him. Absolutely shocked.
Seems like Stanko's playing a little favorites right now. He's a little biased with his boy Logan Mankins going to the Buccaneers, so that's why the Buccaneers can't finish last.
Well, I mean, listen, I also think that if you look at their wide receivers, Vincent Jackson and Mike Evans, those are two giant men. They are basketball players, that kind of height and length playing football. So I think Josh McCown's going to be able to throw the deep ball and be able to throw to them, and I think that they're a good team, and I think that their defense is going to be pretty good, and I think their offense is going to be better than Carolina's, which is going to edge them slightly over Carolina. And that's why I have Tampa Bay third. But I think we're in agreement for the rest of the division. It's Atlanta at number 2, then New Orleans at number 1, because you can't bet against Drew Brees and Sean Payton. And Atlanta, I think they're going to take a big step forward with Julio Jones being back for a full year.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I have the Falcons finishing second in the division, and obviously the Saints finishing first. Just touching on the Saints first is obviously Drew Brees and their offense, but it's their improvement on defense that really is going to put them on another pedestal this year, because they were notorious for just being an offensive team. So I think that with their improved defense, it'll be great. Some people are saying that Brees might break Peyton Manning's record for passing yards this season, because he was kind of underrated last year. He was really throwing the ball. He had over 3,500 yards last year, and without Peyton Manning's fantastic record-breaking season, everyone will be talking about Drew Brees. But Drew Brees is right there too. But yeah, I think it's the Saints' division to lose. I think the Falcons are really going to step up and have a better year. However, they're going to be as hurt, and you know, as long as everyone stays healthy on the Falcons, they'll be just fine like they were in previous years. They just had a really bad setback last year, so I have them finishing second. Yeah, so I have the Saints, I have the Falcons, I have the Saints, I have the Falcons, I have the Panthers, and I have the Buccaneers from top to bottom in the South.
So yeah, we're in agreement there. Now let's get to by far the best division in football, the NFC West. This one for me, I think that all these teams are so good, and for me, it's tough for me to say this, but I have a team that had, I think it was double-digit wins last year. I have the Arizona Cardinals finishing 4th.
Wow. Really?
Really. And I listen, it's not because they're not a good team. They are a good team. But I think that the Rams defense is that good. And I think that they'll be able to survive some games with Sean Hill at quarterback. He's better than Kellen Clemens was last year. And granted, I had this picked when Sam Bradford was a quarterback, and I thought they'd be a playoff contender, a playoff sweeper. But now they're definitely not that anymore. But I got Cardinals at 4 and St. Louis at 3.
Okay, all right. First of all, I misspoke on the NFC South. I have the Saints, Falcons, Panthers, and Buccaneers are my fourth team. I think I said Falcons twice. Buccaneers, I'm finishing last in the NFC South. But going into the NFC West, I have the Rams finishing last. I think the injury of Sam Bradford is huge. He's going to be out for the year. I don't see the Rams really doing anything on offense this year. They are pretty good. They have a pretty good defense, which are going to keep them in some games, but I don't see the Rams making any noise. And I have the Arizona Cardinals finishing third with a chance of a second wild card spot. I think the Cardinals are going to be pretty good. I think Andre Ellington is set for a huge year. He's getting a lot of buzz going into the year, and I believe it. I think Andre Ellington has the intangibles to really be a good every down back for the Cardinals, and that's something that they need. Obviously, you got a guy like Larry Fitzgerald who is a consistent threat on offense. So I have the Rams finishing last, and I have the Cardinals at 3.
All right, so then who do you got at number 2?
At number 2, I was going back and forth at this, but I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go with the 49ers second. They've taken some hits, really, with their defense. As long as the Niners defense doesn't really collapse in the first few weeks without Navarro Bowman and Alton Smith, they should be all right. It's going to be tough because Smith is going to miss games against the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Saints, and the Broncos, while Bowman is going to miss all of those games except for the Saints. So it's going to be hard for the Niners. They've taken some hits on defense, but and plus the fact that I can't trust a running quarterback. And that really is what I think Colin Kaepernick is. So as good as they are, as balanced as a team as they are, I still think the Niners are going to finish second. They're going to be a wild card team. They're a playoff team. I have 3 teams in this division going into the playoffs because I think the Niners and the Cardinals are going to be the 2 wild card teams. But I have the Niners finishing second in the division with the Seahawks finishing first.
I agree with you. I have the Seattle Seahawks finishing number 1 because right now they're the Super Bowl champs. How can you not have them number 1? They've done nothing to really diminish their talent. They're going to have Percy Harvin for supposedly a full year next year if he stays healthy. So that's why I agree with you. Seattle number 1, San Francisco number 2. We disagree on 3 and 4. I have the Rams at 3, Cardinals at 4. You flip up them, Cardinals at 3, and the Rams at 4.
Correct. So a couple disagreements.
Yeah, a couple of disagreements. I think our biggest disagreement was in the AFC South in terms of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Titans because I went out on a limb and laid my head out there for the guillotine, so I'm really hoping the Jaguars don't suck.
You really did. I thought I was going out on a limb saying that the Titans were going to finish second, but you beat me to it, saying the Jaguars were going to finish second. I think the only other ones that we disagreed on is I had the Redskins finishing last in the division. You had them finishing second in the NFC East, as you had the Cowboys finishing last, with us both agreeing that the Eagles are going to win the division and the Giants finishing third. And I think the other one was I have the Buccaneers finishing last in the NFC South, as you have the Carolina Panthers having a major setback and have the Panthers finishing last in the NFC South.
Yeah.
We agree that the Saints are going to win the division, and the Falcons are going to finish second, but we differ from the Panthers and the Buccaneers.
Yeah. So all right. So I think we agreed on a lot of the same points. So I think we disagreed on the severity of the various points, how much it will affect each team. I think that's a good summary of our conversation.